National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Good evening and welcome to the national news broadcast on Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation. My name is Siobhan Pereira.
A very good evening to you, and I'm Sharifah Tahir. We take a look at the headlines first.
The President instructs officials to expedite the Anuradhapura Sacred Site Development Plan. State Minister D.V. Chanaka says steps will be taken to introduce a competitive fuel price formula. GMOA says the solution for the medicinal issue is not changing the minister. A tax on imported coconut oil. Wildfire ravages in Greece while Canada is engulfed in floods.
We move on to those and other stories in detail now, taking a look at local news first. President Ranil Wickremesinghe instructed the officials to expedite the Anuradhapura Sacred Site Development Plan, giving priority to the Mahavihara Development Plan.
Accordingly, a committee will be appointed to introduce a unique new legal system that preserves Anuradhapura's historic heritage. President Ranil Wickremesinghe mentioned this while joining a discussion held last afternoon at the Bomalu Viharaya, Anuradhapura on the Mahavihara Development Plan and Anuradhapura Sacred Site Development Plan. The discussion was held under the chairmanship of the Attamasthanadipati and Chief Sanganayaka of the Nuwara Kalaviya, Most Venerable Pallegama Hemaratana Nayaka Thera. The President remarked that it is regrettable that we, who are entitled to a proud civilization and history, are not paying adequate attention to it when the countries of the world continue to emphasize their historical civilization. President Ranil Wickremesinghe said that Sigiriya and Anuradhapura cannot be considered as country's heritage. Sigiriya is country's greatest achievement and the country's civilization lies in the city of Anuradhapura. The Mahavihara takes precedence there and is the headquarters of the Pali Buddhism, he added. Other development initiatives in the Anuradhapura sacred site religion should be put into action based on this Mahavihara development plan. During Prime Minister Bandaranaike's rule in 1947, the Anuradhapura sacred site was initiated, but still has not been completed this plan properly. He said that the Department of Archaeology is sending letters seeking to protect the archaeological sites, but he said that the basic work lies in the Mahavihara. He said that they have to proceed with the excavation work of the Mahavihara. These activities should be carried forward on the advice of the Mahasangha of the Attamastana. A new law that will apply to the Anuradhapura should be prepared. Additionally, a committee anticipated to be formed to carry out this activity with the concerned officials as well. Despite the existence of departments and corporations, this work is not overseen by a single administrative officer. When the operations of this project began, Sri Lanka will develop into an archaeological hub, he added. The President said that before beginning the Malwatuoya project, excavations at Mahavihara should be completed in the following 2 years. Retired archaeologists can be contracted and contacted if necessary, he added. Once the project is underway, he said that they would receive support from around the world to carry out the project. He said that all should be proud of the country's history and civilization. He pointed out that the country should showcase this history to the world. Therefore, he said that if steps are being taken to develop the heritage, they will be able to reap high benefits from tourism. Additionally, discussions are underway over the establishment of the Mahavihara University. He said that they intend to carry out 2 tasks in depth in accordance with the old Piriven education. The historical city of Anuradhapura will gain from these endeavors. The President questioned the officials about the identification of the Mahavihara complex's boundaries and the status of the excavation work. Following this discussion, President Ranil Wickremesinghe also joined to observe some shrines connected to the Mahavihara complex. He then engaged in cordial discussions with several foreign tourists.
I have both doors here.
Okay.
It's okay? No.
Yes, no problem.
Shake your hands. Hello.
Okay. So what part of Israel are you?
Yes, very enjoy Sri Lanka. Very nice people.
And hope we'll see you again.
Of course, yes.
A group of individuals had entered into a house in Thonikkal area in Bavania this morning and set fire to the house after inflicting injuries to the residents. 21-year-old female has been killed from the incident. The group had carried out the assault and set fire to the house while concealing their identities. A birthday party of a child was in progress inside the house when the group assaulted. Following an alert issued via the 119 hotline to the Vavuniya police, police officers and the fire brigade were deployed to the scene. The house had already sustained heavy damages upon their arrival. However, the police, the fire brigade and the residents of the area were able to douse the fire. 9 persons have been injured from the incident and they are receiving treatment at the Vavuniya District Hospital. 3 children, 4 women and 2 men are among the injured. The deceased has been identified as a 21-year-old female resident from Omante. Police investigations are underway over the incident.
Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardanas marks his first anniversary in office. This is a short feature about the political career of the incumbent Prime Minister of the country. On July 22nd last year, Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardanas was sworn in as the 15th Premier of the country. He also assumes ministerial portfolios of public administration, home affairs, provincial councils and local government. He also leads the Mahajan Eksat Peramuna, which is aligned with the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna. The Prime Minister entered into politics in 1968 as a youth leader. After the passing away of former Minister Philip Gunawardanas, Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardanas took up the leadership of the Mahajan Eksat Peramuna in 1973. He was then elected into Parliament in the year 1983. He represented the Parliament in 7 occasions since then. He also held many ministerial portfolios during this period and also held positions such as Chief Government Whip, Joint Opposition Leader and Leader of the House. Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardanas, the son of Philip Gunawardanas, known as Lion of Bodlugoda, and Kusuma Gunawardanas, was born on the 2nd of March 1949. He received his primary education at Royal College Colombo. He then received his bachelor's degree on business management from the Netherlands. He also received a master's on business administration, management and international transportation from the Oregon University in the United States. The Prime Minister has also assumed the chairmanship of the Parliamentary Select Committee on Electoral Reforms as well. He was also the Vice Chair on the Ozone Summit 2001, the founder of the Urban Settlement Development Authority. He also spearheaded the National Community Water Development Project and managed to facilitate community-based water projects serving more than 18.5% of the overall population of his country. China says its fullest cooperation will be extended for the development process by encouraging large-scale investments in the industrial and agricultural spheres in Sri Lanka.
An agreement has been reached to provide the assistance of experts for hybrid rice varieties and other food crops in Sri Lanka. Member of Communist Party of China, Dr. Yuan Jiajun, said that such assistance will enable the country to increase its harvest by several folds. These remarks were shared when a high-level delegation from Chongqing, led by CPC Municipal Committee Secretary Dr. Yuan Jiajun, called on Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardanas at the Temple Trees yesterday. The Prime Minister requested the delegation to share Chongqing's experience of successfully alleviating poverty and ensuring food security by using hybrid rice and other food crops to increase production by several times. The Prime Minister thanked China for the support given for agriculture, industry, education and other fields. He also said Sri Lanka looks forward to China's support in restructuring its debt at the moment and further strengthening its economy in the near future.
State Minister D.V. Chanaka says steps will be taken to replace the fuel pricing formula with a maximum retail price, thereby creating a fuel competitiveness that benefits the country. He expressed these views during a press conference themed Collective Path to a Stable Country held at the Presidential Media Centre today. State Minister D.V. Chanaka said that it was decided to establish a fuel procurement program for a year in order to ensure a steady supply of fuel. Previously, he said that while soliciting bids for fuel, the fuel was purchased based on the amount of room that was available in warehouses. An effort was made to research the Singaporean system instead. Later tenders were called in lieu of the conventional procedure on days when the price was the lowest in the world, he added. Previously, there was no arrangements to maintain buffer reserves. So far, steps have been taken to maintain a reserve of 30,000 litres of fuel, including petrol and diesel, he added. The minister said that they are in charge of additional $60 million needed for daily expenses. After studying the existing methods in the world, a new method was introduced in the country. Accordingly, he said that they no longer need to pay an advance. Fuel tankers come to Sri Lanka should be fully stocked in the warehouses. After that, the necessary purchases for the week are made with the dollars available in the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation. This new system has the potential to save $300 million per year, he added. In order to increase the fuel competitiveness, agreements have been reached with 3 major internationally registered companies. This will increase competition and offer a sound remedy for the current dollar issue. By the first week of next month, a ship of Sinopec company is scheduled to arrive in Sri Lanka. Until now, the fuel pricing formula existed only for Ceylon Petroleum Corporation. Instead, steps will be taken to set a maximum retail price using the price formula to affect all companies through this new system. Thus, the ministry will decide only the maximum retail price in the future. This will create a competition among fuel companies, resulting in reduced fuel prices.
Government Medical Officers Association said that changing the health minister would not resolve the persisting issue on medicines. Secretary to the association, Dr. Haritha Alutke, made these remarks during a media briefing held today. Dr. Haritha Alutke said that the GMOA as an organization believes that if the present situation can be managed and safeguard the system while reassuring the trust of the general public, then the health sector can move forward without any future collapses. Therefore, he said that the officials have a responsibility in this regard and the political governing authority should encourage such efforts. He pointed out that the issue cannot be resolved by changing ministers. He said that some of the officials have become victims of the medicinal mafia in the country. He said that such officers should be changed as the procurement process has been tainted due to such reasons.
Minister Ali Sabri says strong connectivity between India and Sri Lanka would increase people-to-people linkages and propel socio-economic growth in the country. He also said that the proposed Indian rupee in local transactions would be an overall opportunity for the country, including tourism growth and mutually beneficial for both countries. The Foreign Affairs Minister made these remarks in an interview with the Wayan news agency over President Ranil Wickremesinghe's recent visit to India.
Extensively the statement, the vision statement talking about connectivity in various formats, but specifically I would like to begin with the land connectivity. There is a proposal on land connectivity. If you can explain to our viewers what is this proposal like and how this proposal is to be taken forward. And I believe the proposal was given by the Sri Lankan side.
Yeah, thank you, Siddharth, for having us. Thank you so that I have an opportunity to talk to your audience. We had a wonderful 2-day tour led by our President Ranil Wickremesinghe, and the discussions centered around the economic partnership, mutual benefit for both countries, and taking the maximum out of the expected economic growth in the region. So in that, if everybody understands, the entire growth is centered around people-to-people contact, whether it's business, social, economic, or educational thing, people are centered around that. That could only happen if you have better connectivity. So connectivity, as you said, there are different forms and shapes. But we thought on the long run, if it's really to make sense of it, like many countries and the regions which are connected each other in various parts of the world, whether in Europe or in the Northern America, or in the Middle East, or in Southeast Asia, connecting with each other could be a good opportunity.
So another major announcement was the oil pipeline. This is first important in terms of the energy connectivity, and also the oil pipeline links the two countries with each other in many ways. So how do you see this oil pipeline benefiting the people of these two countries?
Yeah, oil pipeline, the idea is freely to flow the oil rather than physically carrying it through mobile applications like what is happening now through the bowsers and vehicles. So once that happens, it's become easy to connect. So the idea is our Ministry of Energy, Power and Energy, working very closely on that. We have looked at the feasibility of it. We feel this is good, and this could ensure the energy security of the Sri Lankans at various points. So both countries and within the country also in Sri Lanka to connect it at various points.
So moving on from energy connectivity to financial connectivity, there were big ticket announcements including on UPI. Now, how do you essentially see the usage of UPI, the pact that has been signed, helping Sri Lanka and many tourists coming from India to Sri Lanka?
Yeah, I think it will be a good beginning. It will help many of the Indians to feel safe, easy, and devoid of unnecessary transaction cost. For example, if you an Indian want to travel, he has to go get another third denomination currency by changing his Indian rupee, then come back to Sri Lanka and then again change it to Sri Lankan rupee, and then before you go back again change it to the international currency, then go back again, get it into Indian. See, this is, a lot of countries have seen this. This is not worth, and therefore, like many other currencies which we have identified, Indian currency will also be given an opportunity to use it as a legal tender, and UPI will allow them to come in Sri Lanka and just use like they use in India at any shop or any place, so that it becomes very feasible for them. So that's an idea that will definitely encourage more Indians to travel with more efficiently and at less expense. So therefore, we see this a good opportunity for Indians to travel more. And how Sri Lanka will benefit out of that is that if more Indians feel better to travel to Sri Lanka, an easy destination, just like many of us travel to Singapore without sometimes visa-free or visa on arrival, it could propel tourism growth. So we see an opportunity and mutually beneficial for both countries.
I believe a lot of conversation is still to happen on UPI. When can we actually see the implementation on ground? Is there any timeline we are looking at, sir, on UPI?
I believe within the next 3 months or so, we should be able to use that, because we have now signed, principal agreement have been taken, financial authorities and monetary authorities have worked on that. So all in all, the maximum timeline, I feel, is about 3 months' time.
Sir, rupee trade is something that India has been trying to do with many of its neighboring countries, and Sri Lanka is no different. Now, when it comes to rupee trade, it has already started, I believe. So if you can give us a status update as to how the transactions have been going, and what future you are looking at when it comes to the usage of Indian currency, that's the Indian rupee, in Sri Lanka for trade and other purposes as well.
Yeah, I think those discussions are being held with the experts. I think once there is clarity on that, we will share with the ordinary public, general public rather. It's important at this point in time. We continue to work towards it. We all see an opportunity in that, and there is a lot of traction in that. Our experts are working on that with their counterparts. All in all, we see this will happen soon rather than late.
In the meantime, the attention of the government has been directed to increase the import tax imposed on coconut oil by 25 rupees a litre. State Minister Ranjit Singh Balapatia, speaking to media, said that the aim is to safeguard the local coconut oil producers. The State Minister said that 125 rupee tax is being charged for a litre of imported unrefined coconut oil and 150 rupee tax is being charged for a litre of refined coconut oil. He said that a tax of up to 450 rupees is being charged on vegetable oil. He said that many have pointed out that the local coconut oil producers have faced severe difficulties due to the high costs and they have been deprived of a fair price in the market. Therefore, he said that the government has directed attention in this regard and several rounds of discussions have already been conducted to resolve this issue.
Chief of Presidential Staff and Senior Advisor on National Security to the President, Sagla Ratnayaka, says that the government has prioritized setting the country on the right path than to play any politics. He expressed these views while attending an event organized by the Young Professionals Organization in Colombo recently. He said that the youth employed abroad could contribute to the economy of the nation, but it cannot be the government's policy to secure a future for the youth within the country. He stressed the need for a robust manufacturing industry bolstered by education, a thriving tourism sector and support for small and medium enterprises. Furthermore, he highlighted that since welfare benefits are paid with tax money, the government will ensure that they are given to those who truly deserve them.
Several political parties have conducted their electoral meetings in several parts of the country yesterday. The main focus of these meetings were the present situation in the country. The Sri Lanka Podujana Perumuna Mahiyangana electoral meeting was held yesterday at the Mahiyangana public grounds. It was organized by State Minister Thenukavithana Gamage. MP Namal Rajapaksha was present at this occasion.
ඒකට හරියන විදියට අපි අනුගත විය යුතුයි. අපි අනුගත වීම තුළ අපි දැඩිසේ විශ්වාස කරනවා මේ රටේ දේශීය ව්‍යවසායකයා දේශීය ආර්ථික අපි රකින්න ඕනේ.
United National Party Vattala electoral meeting was held yesterday. It was organized by Vattala UNP electoral organizer Minister Harin Fernando. UNP Deputy Leader Ruwan Wijewardena was present at this occasion.
අනාගතයේ ජීවත් කරන්නේ කොහොමද කියන ආඩම්බරයෙන් කියනවා මේ ලංකාව හැර යන්න මිනිසු බෝට්ටු වෙන ගලරි පනින්න යන වෙලාවක තමයි මාත් මනුස්සයත් ඒ ගිලෙන නැවට ගුටි කන නැවට
අද මේ රට මේ තියෙන ආර්ථික අර්බුදයෙන් ගලව ගන්නට නම් අද අපි සියලු දෙනාම එකමුතු වෙලා එකමෙන් සිට ගන්නට අවශ්‍යයි. අපේ නායක රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මැතිතුමාත් කරන්නේ ඒකයි.
Public rally of the Janata Vimukti Peramuna was held in Nugathalawa Valimada. It was held with the participation of party leader Anura Kumara Disanayaka.
අද අපිට අපේ රටේ ස්වෛරභාවය හිමි වෙලා තිබෙන්නේ. ඇයි ආර්ථිකය විදවට්ටලා. රටක ආර්ථිකය කඩා වැටුනහම එහි එම රටේ සම්පත් ආරක්ෂා.
Colombo District Director of Health Service, Dr. Chandana Gajanayaka says the disease measles is spreading rapidly in areas such as Gotatua and Kolannara in the Colombo district.
He says that the most of the affected persons were those who had failed to take the anti-measles vaccine. Although measles was controlled in Sri Lanka, the new variant MMR is currently spreading in the Colombo district. Measles is a disease spread through the viral category paramyxo, which could be prevented through inoculation. The disease normally spread from the discharges of an infected patient through nose or oral cavities and spreading via air. Most affected are below the age of 5 years and above the age of 20 years. Children with malnutrition and those with weaknesses in the immunity system are prone to having this disease. Expectant mothers with vitamin A deficiency are also susceptible. The disease symptoms include having rashes on the skin with fever. The afflicted could be determined through antibodies in the blood and detection of the virus in the discharges of the respiratory system. The disease could be spread to another person within a period of 3 and 5 days.
A major attention has been directed over the elephants in the country from various parts of the island and across the world following the incident of the Muthuraja tusker. Accordingly, many debates and dialogues have surfaced in social media over the tusker Agbo, which was injured in Tirapane area. Tusker Agbo was injured after being ensnared and setting off a trap gun. So far, more than 17 rounds of treatments have been administered on the Tusker. These treatment methods are being carried out since the 12th of this month. Wildlife Department officials as well as veterinarians have been treating the Tusker with utmost dedication. Even though some of the wounds in the foot are gradually healing, the Tusker is still not in a stable condition. The wildlife officials have urged the public not to visit the area as the constant gathering of people would scare the Tusker away into unsuitable terrains, which would prevent the veterinarians from continuing the treatments. The Western Breeze exhibition and food festival organized by the Western Provincial Tourism Board was concluded yesterday.
It was held at the Matakulia Stadium. The aim of this initiative is to promote and develop the tourism industry. The festival consisted of many varieties of activities and items including international and local cuisine, music performances, fashion shows and cookery competitions. The two-day festival was held until midnight yesterday. All trade stalls and food outlets at the festival were constantly monitored by health units of the Colombo Municipal Council. The Western Provincial Tourism Board is planning to continue the festival covering all regions of the Western Province in the future.
We'll be back with news overseas. Stay tuned in.
Prima Kotumi Fantamai.
Welcome back. We move on to news overseas now. Thousands of people have been evacuated as wildfires threatened homes and hotels on the Greek island of Rhodes. More than 2,000 were rescued from beaches on Saturday as flames threatened hotels and tourist areas, officials said. The fires had been burning for most of the past week but were confined to the island's mountainous interior until strong winds, high temperatures and dry conditions swept the flames towards the coast on the island's central eastern side. Officials said that the operation had been hampered by fires cutting off some road access. People were being taken to safe locations on the island while firefighters battled the blaze. 3 passenger ferries were moored at the port of Rhodes to accommodate those rescued. A man has been arrested in Mexico on suspicion. In the meantime, we move on to news from Canada. 4 people in Canada, including 2 children, have been reported missing in flooding caused by torrential rains in Nova Scotia. Authorities have said that the heaviest rains to hit the Atlantic region in 50 years have triggered floods that have left thousands of homes without electricity. 3 months of rain fell in just 24 hours in some areas. Residents have been urged not to join in searches for the missing due to the dangerous conditions. The 2 missing children were in a car that was submerged by flood waters, police reported. The 3 other people in the car managed to escape, and a man and a young person are also missing after the vehicle they were in was also submerged.
Prima Kotumi Fantamai.
The second test between Sri Lanka and Pakistan will begin tomorrow in Colombo. The match will be played at the SSC grounds.
Pakistan is leading the series after securing a 4-wicket victory against Sri Lanka in the first test match. Pakistan and Sri Lanka have faced each other in 58 test encounters in history. Pakistan has won 22 matches while Sri Lanka has only won 17. Tomorrow's match will be decisive for Sri Lanka to level the series and gain points in the Test Championship. Sri Lankan players engaged in final practice sessions today ahead of the match. Isipatana College is remaining undefeated in the Inter-School Rugby Championship at present. Isipatana faced against Wesley College and won the match by 13 points. Isipatana College managed to score 24 points while Wesley players were only able to gather 11 points.
Prima Kotumi Fantamai.
And that's it on the news broadcast on Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation. My name is Siobhan Pereira together with Sharifa Tahir. Wishing you a pleasant evening. Take care. Have a great week.